The NBA always has some interesting pieces of news going on, and the past few weeks haven't been any different. So stay tuned to today's video, as we're going to discuss the 76ers' Joel Embiid reveals that he chose the Process nickname to spite the NBA. I'm going to piss some people off. First up, 76ers' Joel Embiid reveals he chose the Process nickname to spite the NBA. I'm going to piss some people off. Being named the Process has become one of the things Joel Embiid is most well known for. He recently told the world that he actually claimed the name himself in order to spite the NBA a little bit. He appeared on the Draymond Green Show not so long ago and explained how he wasn't happy with the way manager Sam Hinkie was forced out of his role in order for Bryan Colangelo to be appointed. Here is what he had to say about his nickname and why he chose it in the first place. Hinkie was basically forced out by, I don't want to say names, but you know I'm outspoken, so I'll say it, the NBA. I always say I don't know who, but I think that's what it was. And then that pissed me off because I felt like, yeah, sure, there was a lot to lose, which I wasn't part of because that was before I started playing. But I knew that eventually, once I started playing, it was going to change, which it did. So they basically forced him out, and I didn't like it. Around that time, the league did not like the Process because it was a bunch of losing. They say it was tanking, that we were losing on purpose. So I got pissed off because they ran Sam Hinkie out of town, and I knew that they didn't like the Process, all the losing stuff. Then I was like, you know what? I'm going to piss some people off. Even around the team, there were a bunch of people that didn't like that word. I remember, I won't say names, but I used to get calls about it. Can you please tell Joel not to mention the Process name again? We're trying to move on from it. It was like, watch this. Now it all makes sense why he pushed the nickname and took it upon himself. It was a weird approach and something not often seen in the NBA, so it's crazy to finally learn about. What do you think? Let us know down in the comments section below. And now we have some other NBA news. Next up, did you know how these great players got their jersey numbers? The jersey number attached to each player is how many recognize them on the court. But did you know that these numbers aren't just handed out? Players choose their number, and usually they have their own meanings. Here we have a few of the biggest players in history and how they got their jersey numbers. Kevin Durant is someone to expect on a list like this, as he is easily one of the most iconic players in the NBA right now and has been for many years. He's not a player to hide from his feelings, especially when it comes to showing them to the media and the public. He's even been titled Cupcake by many because of his softness. However, he wasn't called a softie at all when he decided to change his jersey number to honor his AAU coach. Charles Craig was his mentor, his father figure, and one of the biggest figures in his life. Sadly, he was murdered at the age of 35, and that's why he changed his number to pay respects. Did you know about this one? Let us know down below. Chris Paul is a legend in the game and easily one of the best point guards in the NBA's long history. He constantly makes the right plays, is smart and cautious about everything, and always knows exactly what to do and in what order. He got his number because of many previous plays in his career, and it only made sense in the end. The main reason he chose this number was to honor his father and brother. He combined his previous jersey numbers 1 and 2 to make 3, and now he's called CP3. What a cool story, and what a cool player. What do you think about it? Let us know in the comments down below. Our penultimate player on this list is none other than Dennis Rodman. He has always been a different person than many in the sport. He's had a very different and somewhat twisted sense of humor, and that's something he'll be remembered for forever. Other than being one of the best defenders on the planet, that is. He joined the Dallas Mavericks and demanded to have the number 69 as a joke, but it was rejected and he was given number 70. What a weird story, but when you understand the player himself, I guess it makes a whole lot of sense. Michael Jordan is a legendary player and is recognized as the main man of the NBA. He actually changed the meaning of the number 23 when he wore it on the court. His story is actually one of the most heartfelt and is in honor of his brother Larry. His brother would beat him at the sport as they were growing up, and he wore the number 23. Michael believed that he could be half as good as his brother was, so he wore the same number. Now the number is recognized as Jordan's number and is plastered in the history books of the sport and many others. And our final piece of news is Jason Kidd calls LeBron James the greatest of all time, but his reasoning is a bit strange. Though there are many top players in the NBA right now and have been over the entire sport's history, there are usually two names that come up when talking about the best player in history. These names are of course Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Jordan was the best of his time, and James is now the best of the current era. However, when it comes to putting up the two icons against each other, fans have a hard time deciding and putting across valid points that place one of the players above the other. Dallas Mavericks head coach Jason Kidd recently spoke about LeBron James and how amazing of a player he is. His reasoning for saying that LeBron is the greatest of all time is because of the combination of his on- and off-court contributions. Many agree with what he is saying, but his off-court contributions seemingly should have no effect on whether he is the greatest of all time, right? When you think about it, it does make a lot of sense what Kidd is saying. LeBron is the greatest player ever, even when being compared to Michael Jordan. He is the all-time leading scorer. LeBron is a strong stronger, faster, and bigger player than Jordan. He's also a better handler and even an overall better defender. The only thing you could say Jordan is better at would be his defense, but because LeBron is stronger, it equals itself out. In terms of his off-court actions, it does make sense to include them into him being the best player of all time. James is a nice guy and comes across very humble. He donates to charity all the time and just seems like a great overall person. Though you could argue that these play no part in whether or not he's the best player. I would argue that it does. The person's character plays into how popular they are across the sport and the world. James is basically loved by everyone, and it's hard to point out a flaw in his character or personality. He's just a nice guy who loves his sport and people. What more could you want? His off-the-court actions might not be the biggest factor, but they definitely do play a factor in whether he is the GOAT or not. What do you think about this? Let us know down in the comments section below. And that's the end of today's video. The NBA always has some interesting stories going on, but only at certain parts of the week. Because of how the games correlate to the days of the week, news only seems to release on the weekends or the beginning of the week. Therefore, there aren't that many relevant stories at one time. However, the stories that do shine through are incredible and really show the dedication these players have for the sport, from putting up with booing crowds to constant teammate changes, which can make the game kinda awkward. These players have to put up with a lot, especially with the ongoing changes to the sport. Hopefully you enjoyed this latest video. If you did, would you please let us know down in the comment section below? It would be very helpful. Make sure to like this video, comment down below, and of course subscribe to the channel with the notification bell rung. Thank you for watching today's video. Bye.